Hey, welcome to a commentary for Travis Wizard's profile image. Um, yeah, I painted it. Darn it. So basically, here I'm doing thumbnails. I'm just planning out the image. I had a few thoughts in my head about what I wanted it to look like. Mostly, I'm worried about the flow of the image, how it looks. So it's extremely sketchy at this point, and I will reduce the opacity of it and go over top with values and more defined lines just to plan the image a little bit better. Here you can see I put a little bit of a hint of Emrakul large and behind them that later goes into the background just because I didn't really like the something about the flow of it I didn't like. I do like the way it framed it, but anyway, going into the face, I had Travis record a video for me to get several kind of looks at his face and different expressions. I mean, same general expression, I guess, but just kind of different extremes of it. Uh, and actually, what ended up happening later, the lighting for that image is, uh, well, I'll get into it, but it somehow confused my brain, so I had to go through his videos anyway, even though I was asking him to do that video to kind of save time. Um, yeah, I ended up having to go through a bunch of his videos until I found lighting that I liked, but luckily you can kind of get a feel for that in the thumbnail of the image. But anyway, here, I mean, it basically looks like Travis, and I'm kind of messing around with the lighting still. This square kind of disappears later. Probably would have kept it if it was a different type of different purpose for the image, I guess. And here's where I mess up on the face, and it'll slowly get out of control. I'm sort of just color picking, kind of doing what I would for, or not color picking. Sorry, I'm not doing that yet. I'm choosing my own colors. Most of the time it's good to just pick your colors instead of color pick off of a photo. It's just not a dynamic look at the color. But anyway, choosing your own colors usually gets you a more artistic and better overall image in the end. I just for whatever reason my mind wasn't in the mood that it needed to be in to understand it, and I decided to pause on the face because I wasn't for whatever reason mentally prepared to draw it or paint it with the colors I was using. Um, I paused it, went and messed with the background, the lighting, got that all in place, came back to it, and I still messed it up. So at some point, I go off and get a different image and then adjust the color of it. You can see you know, I noticed that his face was, and it kind of ends up a little bit more round than Travis's face is, but it still looked like him, and I didn't want to mess with it any more than it was. I was pretty happy with the likeness in the end, but here it gets way out of control. Doesn't look anything like him, and I'm basically just losing a lot of definition. Yeah, this is where I was like, screw it. I just grabbed a different image and I was like, what if this had really blue lighting? And yeah, I just started color picking. So I mean, in general, I would suggest not doing this, but it was one of those things where I'd been at it at his face for well over an hour, and I was like, you know, I just need to get a result here, and I think it ended up well. I made because I was not for whatever reason mentally capable of making the correct decisions artistically. I grabbed I adjusted artistically, I guess, the colors of a different image and then color picked it. So I think the end result here, I mean, it's already looking a lot more like him. Again, I think his face is a little bit more round in the end than probably should have been, but ended up looking pretty good. And I like the colors. It wasn't that extreme blue. I think I was putting way too much blue on his face early on. Kind of messed with how I understood the structure of his face, and it's kind of tough, unless you have a full turnaround of someone's face at like every 2 degrees. It's kind of difficult to figure out in your head, how does the light really bounce off their face? What shadows are being cast? And um, typically the other thing is just noting Travis's ancestry. Being of Asian descent, his nose is less pronounced than I guess people I normally draw who are just white. So I was in the beginning trying to imagine like, wow, how does the shadow get cast on his face, and making that way too pronounced, and then making other parts more round, and it's just that is not the structure of his face. That's just not how it's set up. So yeah, getting a different image, getting the light in a more extreme way was certainly helpful. Yeah, here I just zoomed all the way in 100%. I can't remember what the size of this image is. I think it's well, I guess it's at the top somewhere. Pretty sure it's around 6,000 wide. Could be off on that by a little bit. Yeah, it's 6,000 by like 10. But it's a pretty large image. I believe I was working at 400 pixels per inch. And finally, we're getting into the like what I want his costume design to look like. And I had a lot of things in mind for this. Mostly, I was considering Izzet from Magic the Gathering, if you're not familiar. Whoops. Quick visit to DeviantArt, I guess. That's the price we pay for just recording while painting, I guess. But yeah, so basically, I wanted to mimic the colors of an Izzet Mage from Magic the Gathering, and it's typically like a red-blue color scheme, and I wanted it to look like sort of I don't know, stereotypical, is that the word? Just cliche wizard is correct. So yeah, I started in on his clothes, and then started putting in a lot of the elements of what Travis has been involved in, both on his channel now and in the past. So all the cards on the page are Living End. It's my personal favorite deck ever in the history of Magic the Gathering, and Travis had a big part of making that deck popular back in the day when he was doing living the life as a professional Magic the Gathering player. Emrakul back there, another magic creature. It's sort of just the definition of like what do we do with this crazy brew, and the answer is to throw out an Emrakul and crush people. So one of the most devastating and fun creatures in Magic the Gathering, just a ridiculous mana cost to cast that creature, and destroys people, and Travis has used it in a few decks. I wouldn't say it defines him necessarily, but does define sort of a lot of people's idea of what Crazy Brew is in Magic, and Travis is known for making crazy brews in Magic, or developing decks that other people haven't thought of. So here I got Izzet Mage in Ral Zarek, just an image. I think who painted those? I think it's Pete Moorbacher, and I'm blanking on the other person. I'm sorry. I know both of them. It's just off the top of my head. Anyway, I wanted to just shout out those guys and just credit, because obviously their art is crazy good. But anyway, so just using them as reference for color, and then yeah, here we're getting to the end of the image. I'm just basically detailing everything. Didn't mention the glowing chess pieces, but that was probably obvious. That's just another aspect of his current channel. Just wanted to get all these little details in. Didn't go too crazy on this. Did get a few photo textures in here just to add a little bit of realism. Had this been more involved paid project, it probably would have gone across the whole image with it, just gone way overboard with the detail. But anyway, just detailing the Emrakul and finishing up this image, and there it is. I'm excited to announce the launch of my new website, PrestonStoneArt.com, where you can find prints and originals by me and inquire about having me work on your project, big or small. Go check it out.